Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Good evening and welcome everybody to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. This is the Monday Night Raw review. I am your host, Adam Cousins, and this evening I am joined by my brilliant friend and my usual co-host for AEW reviews, Forbidden Door Dave, Right Hand Robinson, whatever you want to call him. Dave Robinson, good evening to you, my friend.
I haven't said it for a few weeks, Ad, but welcome to Monday Night Robinson.
Yeah, man, it's been a while since we've done a podcast together. I'm so happy to be joining you tonight. I can't, honestly, we talked off air. I can't thank you enough for your contribution over the last couple of months. I hope you've grown and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have enjoyed speaking to you.
Oh, it's been great, mate. I'm really grateful to be part of the team. Love what we're doing. And yeah, mate, long may it continue, hopefully.
Oh, mate, it's going to continue. We've only just scratched the surface upon the stuff that we're going to do. Obviously, we've got Ignite in a week or so's time, but we'll get into that in a minute. Let's talk Monday Night Raw, not Robinson, Monday Night Raw. Look, overview, Dave. I will be perfectly honest. You know, I'm a WWE guy. And, you know, like you and Parker said, I'm kind of an in-betweener on this. But I will give you my honest review. I thought Raw was shit.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
It could have been better. That's a diplomatic way of saying.
What I like about you, Dave, is that you always try and see the way you say you couldn't be better. And I've said it was shit. It kind of gives you the type of person Dave is to the type of person I am. I thought it was fucking atrocious, to be quite frank. And the problem is, I watched AEW Collision on Saturday or Sunday, and I didn't join you and Parker for the review because you and Parker are two AEW guys, and, you know, it's always cool because you two have a great synergy together. I loved Collision. I actually quite like Dynamite this week. And I kind of planted that seed. If you listen to SmackDown, I said to Andy, you know, do I think that WWE needs to set the bar for SummerSlam because of All In being at Wembley? Yeah. And you've seen the views, you've seen the responses. And I watched Collision and I absolutely loved Collision because of, I'm a wrestler. Look, at the end of the day, yes, I'm a WWE guy and I will always be a WWE guy, but I love wrestling. And I went to Revolution Pro on Sunday and I was blown away. I watched Collision and I was blown away because FTR and Juice and Jay White and all of that, Punk and
Joe.
And I sat there and watched Raw. And I thought, what in the absolute fuck is this? Like, I could have said that Raw was going to be bad from the moment I watched SmackDown because you get that video, you get this thing that comes up this Monday, and it tells you what's going on Raw. And I could have sat there and I could have gone, well, this is shit, because I knew Cody was going to come out. I knew there was going to be a bit with this whole Alpha Academy and this whole graduation for Maxine Dupree and all of this stuff. When you watch, for example, when you watch Collision, Dave, like you guys, and you and Parker are big AEW fans, and I respect the fact that you take the AEW brand and you're this positive, and you're always positive about things. How can you be positive about what you just watched last night?
Yeah, it's difficult for me. I mean, so why I can be positive about it is because I'm a big fan of a lot of the talent that was on the show. I love the Judgment Day. I love all of the individual characters in the Judgment Day. I love Sami and KO. I love McIntyre. I'm a fan of Riddle. You know, I'm a fan of Imperium. So when you've got a show, Chad Gable, all these guys are on this show. I find it really confusing. And how can they put a bad show out there with the talent that they've got for that 3 hours of Raw? And as you say, they found a way to, they found a way. There's some in-ring stuff that wasn't too bad. Some of the mic work wasn't too bad. Some of the mic work was poor. Bit of a disjoint. I don't know. What did you think about the Ricochet Logan Paul segment?
Ricochet should never be near a microphone, is what I would. And we've done AEW reviews, and I've slated Jungle Boy for his mic work. Yeah. And I've said that he needs a mouthpiece because he can't talk, or not that he can't talk. He's not believable when he talks. Ricochet was this whole pander into the. I do all this stuff because of you. Fuck off. Yeah. You do, cut a promo which makes me believe that you are what you say you are. And he doesn't do it.
What annoyed me about it is he didn't need the promo for me. It was just, if they announced last on SmackDown that the main event of Raw is Ricochet against Logan Paul, great. That's all it needed for me. Now, I know they're probably building it to SummerSlam.
Yeah.
But it's just a bit of a week. I know they've had interactions at the Rumble and they've done bits and they did the pull apart brawl after the match at Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
But I just thought they were trying to create a story here which didn't really exist, and it just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't hit with me. I'm up for the match, but how they get there, they could have done it a lot better. So I'm ultimate. I want to see that match. I'm fine with that match, but I don't want to see segments like this. Not when guys' matches are being cut short and there's people not appearing on the show to get this promo segment.
Exactly right. I totally agree with you. Anyway, let's start with Monday Night Raw, and we have an angry Finn Balor.
Yeah,
that starts Monday Night Raw. For those of you who don't know, there's been this bit of an issue with the Judgment Day. Damian Priest failed cash-ins and whatnot, and he's not happy. Rhea and Dominik come out and basically try and stem the tide. Seth Rollins comes out and basically says, "Hey, Mammy, I'm the one ripping Dominik's ass tonight, and you're just going to basically love it." I like that bit of it because obviously the way that Rhea and Dominik have been. But does it come to a point, Dave, when there's just too much talking and not enough in-ring product? Like, I go back to AEW, and I don't like. I try to not talk too much about AEW when I'm on a WWE show or WWE when I'm on an AEW show, but even like when I was at the show on Sunday, they just got on with it, and it was like this segment for me just felt too long, and it was like, we know where you're gonna get to, so just get on with it rather than talking the shit that you're dealing with.
That's the thing, and it's a difficult thing to do. AEW get criticised sometimes for trying to cram too much in, and Tony Khan tries to get too much on a card. Yeah, and I think the right balance is when there's enough storyline development and there's a bit of sports entertainment type stuff mixed in with some good in-ring action. And when you've got a roster like WWE have, that shouldn't be a problem. They should be starting off with, if it's a promo segment, great, but let's get on with a match then. Let's get two guys or two girls, or let's get a tag match in the ring, and let's see some of the action that we're tuning in for. And after the criticism from SmackDown last week about certain matches being cut, I mean, what happened with AJ Styles and Karrion Kross?
Don't get me started on that.
Yeah, exactly. So you would think going into Raw, they would get on with some of the action, and they didn't. It was, a lot of talking and not too much action, and that kind of summed up the whole 3 hours, unfortunately.
And I think that puts yours and Parker's point to a degree correct. Like, if you watch AEW, there's more fun. Yes, there's some matches that are questionable, and yes, there's things that happen that are questionable. Yeah. But and maybe there is this kind of, where did this match come from?
Yeah.
But there's matches where, and that's what I like. I'm a big sucker for in-ring talent and like show us what you can do. And like this segment, I was just like, well, we know where this is going, so just get to the point. I don't know. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I thought as well, and we'll get on to the other matches and stuff that happened this week. But you got a no disqualification match, and it had really good potential, and there was some good stuff in there with Ciampa and the Miz. Oh, how it finished, how it went down at the end, I didn't like that. But at the same time, I'm like, if you've got a no DQ match on a show, surely that's your main event right there with the right build. To not have that at the main event and to finish it how they did with the screwy finish, it doesn't do a lot for the people in the ring. And when you got Tommaso Ciampa in the ring, you just, he's the type of guy that I would be strapping a rocket to and saying, yes, you are the future of Monday nights. But maybe I'm in the minority there, but I'm a huge Ciampa fan. And I don't know. I thought what they did at the end of that match was a bit needless, and it kind of took the wind out of the sails, if you like. There was built a bit of momentum, and then it was like, oh, okay, Miz wins.
Yeah, exactly that. And we'll get on to that in a minute. First match was McIntyre and Riddle versus Vinci and Kaiser from Imperium. The thing with me that I'm getting annoyed with is like it's always everything but Gunther. Now I get it. I love Gunther. I love the fact that he's the Intercontinental Champion for so long. I get the fact that you don't want him pinned and you don't want him losing because it takes that stigma away from him. How many times are we going to have a tag match with Imperium without Gunther that they're going to lose and take that stigma away from Imperium as a team?
Yeah.
McIntyre and Riddle got the win. They kind of walked away from Vinci a little bit. It's not setting up the fact that Imperium are splitting up. I know that. I've read the reports and stuff like that. But is this kind of like a Wheeler Yuta BCC kind of thing where they prevent the bigger guys from taking the loss?
Yeah, I think so. But in saying that, they've pinned Sami Zayn this week. They've pinned Becky Lynch this week. They've pinned Ciampa this week. So it's really kind of inconsistent. But I totally get what you're saying. But yeah, wouldn't we rather just an Intercontinental title defense this week rather than this? As you say, you've got Gunther there, and you've got this inconsequential tag match, which who's going to win. McIntyre and Riddle are going to win. There's no element of doubt or question of that. Yeah. So I didn't think it was too bad a match. Actually, I thought it was all right. It was probably some of the best stuff on this week but there's not too much more to kind of compare it to. No. So yeah, it was fine. It was a fine match. But again, what's Gunther doing, this week other than playing cheerleader?
Yeah,
I think he's better than that.
He's a lot better. We all know that he's better than that. I mean, I can't. If McIntyre beats him at SummerSlam, the only thing I can think of is that he's going to bigger and better things, which is the world title situation. But it just annoys me because that Imperium are better than that, like Vinci and Kaiser.
Yeah,
they can't keep being the full guy.
They just look like jobbers, don't they? Yeah, they just look like jobbers.
And they're better than that. We know they are better than that. So why do you keep week after week? Kaiser takes the fall, Vinci takes the fall, and Gunther I get it. McIntyre wants the shot. It's gonna probably happen at SummerSlam, but come on. You're you made this point a couple of weeks ago about insulting the intelligence of fans. Well, they're doing it here, surely.
Yeah. And if we get in Imperium, have them in a competitive tag match against another tag team, have Gunther in a match, and if he gets beaten, the challenger gets an Intercontinental title shot, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not difficult, is it? And that's my problem with the show this week. So much talent there, much of the talent that was on the show, but not being showcased, doing what they're good at. Chad Gable, case in point.
Don't even get me started on Gable. I'm gonna literally go mad in a minute when we talk about Gable. That's for another time. Well, no, it's actually for a little bit later on. We go to the Judgment Day having this issue with Seth, not Seth. Well, we're kind of with Seth, but Priest. Balor's blaming Priest for costing his shot. And then they have this match with Dominik, Seth has this match with Dominik, which ends in the Judgment Day coming in, which ends in Kevin and Sami coming in, which ends up making a 6-man for the main event. Look, Dave, I'm being honest with you here, and you know I'm a WWE guy. You know that I'm a wrestling fan at the end of the day. This is not the first time we've seen this sort of stuff on WWE television. Like, you'll get the champion and you'll get the tag team champions. All of a sudden, we seem to forget that Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens were bitter enemies.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they're like these best friends. Like, come on, don't insult the intelligence of people like me and you. We know the situation. Yes, I get it. They have a common enemy in Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Why did they need to put this match unless it's to give Dominik the rubber? Do we really want to see Seth Rollins and Dominik at SummerSlam?
I don't, and I don't think many wrestling fans do. And with the Finn and Priest stuff, are we meant to believe that these guys haven't spoken the last week? And they've just waited till they get to Raw kind of to talk about it. It's just a bit lazy and weak. And what I sometimes feel when I'm watching WWE is the actual week-to-week product, Raw and SmackDown, is tailored towards a younger audience than myself, and that might be the case. But then they put these main event shows on, these pay-per-view shows that are so good, and I get so invested back into them. And then I watch Raw and SmackDown, and then they have this dip and maybe that's just the way it goes being a wrestling fan. But it just seems so unnecessary to me when they've got the talent there to have the great matches. I know you don't expect pay-per-view matches on weekly television every week. That's not you build to those big matches, but you can do better than what we got this week.
Yeah, you can. And it's like, come on. Are you it's like you said, we're really expecting Finn and Priest not to have a conversation about this sort of stuff? But anyway,
you have to you have to suspend your belief when you're watching wrestling, and I know that. So people kind of listening to this or watching this is probably, yeah, it's wrestling, but come on, man. You get that dose of realism, and I just thought this was just really unnecessary. And they did it again at the end, and we don't want to jump to the end, but the dissension again between Finn and Priest at the end, and it's just come on, man, this is crap.
Exactly that. And
I broke. I've said crap.
Well, you said crap. You broke. Yeah, you've ranted enough to say crap. Look, let's move on. Becky and Zoey. Now, there was an issue. Now, if you listen to the dirt sheets before Raw, Becky wasn't cleared. There was this big issue whether the match was going to happen.
Yeah.
Becky apparently got cleared later on that day, so the match did happen with Zoey Stark. And look, Zoey Stark wins. Obviously, there was a bit of Trish Stratus intervention, which we would normally, we know where this is going. We know that Becky and Trish are probably going to have a match at SummerSlam, which is going to, solidify really Becky. We expect Becky to win the match at SummerSlam. We don't expect Trish to win. Was this just a match that really kind of WWE trying to say, look, Zoey Stark is a massive women's division competitor and you need to take her seriously?
Yeah, I don't mind Zoey Stark picking up the win. It's just the fashion in which they did it. It just made Becky Lynch look really stupid, which she's a seasoned pro, former multi-time champion. Yeah. And again, it was just a little bit of a distraction, or was it a leg grab or something? And she gets rolled up.
Stupid like that, yeah.
So again, the actual idea, I don't mind Zoey Stark beating Becky Lynch. That's big for Zoey Stark, and that helps to kind of bring her on as well, and plays into the whole being mentored by Trish. But just the way they did it, I'm just like, I don't know who the agents are for these matches, but you can come up with better finishes than that.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching. I was, really? How many times have we seen this shit? Before. I've got no problem. Zoe Stark winning. Look, I'm a big fan of Zoe Stark. I think
Yeah,
she's,
same.
look, she probably needs Trish to get her sort of elevated to that,
Yeah,
standard where we would consider her as a talent. But like, they could have done so much better with this. But look, I can't keep ranting because, Jesus, we're nearly halfway through, and I've got nothing positive to say. The next bit, they cut to the back and they have this thing with Seth and Sami and Kevin. Oh, Dave, and then they have this fucking thing with the Alpha Academy and Maxine Dupree graduating, the Viking Raiders nick the coat. What the absolute fuck am I
yeah.
watching at this? Chad Gable is sitting there presenting a fucking coat to someone when he should be doing something for a championship. What are they doing with Chad Gable, man? Because I am seriously, this guy is so talented, and I get so frustrated with watching Chad Gable just being this fucking comedy act with Otis when he should be challenging for titles, and he's presenting a fucking coat to someone who ultimately gets nicked by the Viking Raiders, which sets up a match next week that I couldn't give a shit about because Chad Gable is the man they should be pushing. Sorry, you go ahead.
No, man, you said it so well, so eloquently. I can't agree more. This every time I watch Raw, it just seems to be like Groundhog Day in terms of the Viking Raiders and the Alpha Academy. They've had multiple matches now, so I'm not really sure. Nobody seems to be very invested in it. I mean, Maxine's getting awards for doing an arm drag and a roll up. That means we should be in line for. I might see if we can get the ring a buckle up and we can get some coach presented to us. But man, this was weak. I don't. Why they would think anybody would care that somebody's coach been nicked? I mean, I never like storylines like this. Even man in AEW, they've stolen Andrade's mask. I don't like that shit. It just I don't care. I know they do occasionally with championships, but I think in 2023 we're capable of stronger storylines than that in wrestling. Bit of a comedy act, bit of a maybe this is what kids like these days, but I don't, and I would much rather see Chad Gable in that ring, one-on-one or in tag team action, showing the world what he can do. That's going to be a bit of a theme, I'm afraid, tonight of what I'm saying in this review, because I didn't enjoy this, as you can probably gather.
What do you think I felt when you listened to it? Listen, if you're Chad Gable, request your release and fuck off to somewhere that wants to showcase your wrestling talents like you've got.
NXT,
yes, this will probably piss the WWE off, but you're so much more talented than a fucking comedy segment about a sodding coat.
I'd love to see him go to NXT and go for the world title there. I think that would be awesome.
Come to Buckle Up in 2 weeks and we'll get you in a fucking match that you deserve more than this shit that you got put in on Raw. I'm sorry for ranting, Dave, but I'm so frustrated with this constant shit they put Chad Gable in, because he is literally Kurt Angle 2023, and we have to put up with this crap week in, week out.
I mean, I will say, he in the comedy role, he's good in it, and he's very funny, and I do like his catchphrases and stuff. But as you say, it's kind of, I don't know, you kind of wish he wasn't good at the comedy stuff, and he could just do the wrestling. I don't know if that can make it any more likely that we'd see him in more matches, but it's just a massive shame. I mean, Otis as well. I don't hate Otis. He's got his role on the show. But if the role is doing this, I mean, I expected it to at least lead onto a match, and no, that was just the segment.
Well, it does lead on to a match next week, which is a Viking rules match. Just go.
Maybe that'll steal the show, and we'll be happy again.
Really? Can you really see it still in the show?
I'd rather him just see him one-on-one with Ali or someone like that, or
do you know
Cedric Alexander, whoever.
Open up Dynamite with him and Orange Bollocks. you know what I mean? Like, because you know it's going to be great, and I don't like to
Man,
shit on
imagine
this
that.
stuff. You know, I try my best to be like middle of the road for both shows, but when you've got a wrestler so talented like him, and you stick him in this shit, it just annoys the hell out of me. I've got to move on because otherwise I'm going to really just throw my laptop out the window, and I haven't got the money to pay my company for a new laptop. Cody Rhodes. No, sorry, not Cody Rhodes. I'm Shayna Baszler and Emma in another quick match, which Rousey comes out in, and obviously we know where this is going to go for SummerSlam. Ronda Rousey's got a hard get out of a contract.
This was bad as well, Emma and Shayna.
Wow.
I don't like to.
Jesus, you realize to put me and you in the fucking ring for 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
I've seen Emma in some good matches, and I've seen Shayna Baszler in good matches, but this, from the start, when they just started doing the punches rather than a lockup, I was like, what is going on here?
Man. And you know that, like, Shayna Baszler's an ex-MMA fighter. Emma's not a slouch, but come on, fucking hell, give us something. And they bring Ronda out, and they do all this crap. And look, Shayna wins. She's not going to lose this, with 3 weeks before SummerSlam. But give us something, Dave. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Like, we're meant to take Shayna back. Look, for all intents and purposes, she's beating Ronda at SummerSlam. From what we can gather. Ronda's going to piss off and be a mum, and fair play to her. Look, I've got no problem with Ronda Rousey being in WWE TV. She can't cut a promo for shit, but I've got no problem with Ronda being there. But at least make it. At the moment, the way I see it is Shayna Baszler's going to kill her.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. And
I mean, if that's the way they go, maybe that's a good way of writing her off, and then she comes back at some point and they have a more competitive match down the line, and that builds Baszler up. I don't see what this match with Emma did for Baszler, though. It was just, and it definitely didn't do anything for Emma. I mean, she's just somebody that when they announced their annual releases, at the minute, she's just a name that you're not surprised, and that's horrible to say. Somebody losing their job. But when they're so underutilized, like they are, I mean, I don't know. Has Emma been on much late? I know she was on last week.
Mate, this is the first time I've seen her in since they turned her boyfriend, who's Riddick Moss or Madcap Moss, since they turned him heel on SmackDown about 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like when they, and I don't mean this in horribly whatsoever, but when you think of WWE, thinking of releasing talent, you're putting them and look, I don't want them to get released. I don't want them to lose their job or anything like that. But when you look at this and you think, well, if they announce tomorrow you're not going to give a shit.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it just could be so much better. It just could be so much better. These guys work so hard, and they train so hard. They're such athletes and perfecting their craft, and then they're sent out there for a minute just to get made to look stupid. It's embarrassing, mate.
And this is the thing with like Karrion Kross, and like we kind of touched upon this on the Karrion Kross is, for me, when he come back on SmackDown, he interrupted a Roman Reigns segment.
Yeah,
that was when he come back, and you were like, Jesus, like he's going to be going against Roman soon, and he's losing. He's getting fucking decimated by it. And look, again, decimated by AJ Styles isn't necessarily a bad thing, but like when you've positioned yourself and you've come out and you've interrupted a Roman Reigns thing, you're expecting so much.
Yeah.
And you've literally been fucked by whether it's Triple H, whether it's Vince McMahon, whether it's fuck knows who does the book. We don't even, the moment something is bad, everyone blames Vince.
Yeah.
But there's got to come a time when you sit there and say, Triple H, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. And couldn't they use a local indie talent for this, rather than put Emma out there and put her in that situation?
Absolutely. They could have easily have done that. Anyway, before I really lose my fucking marbles, Cody Rhodes comes out and cuts about the 15,000th promo that he has cut since coming back on Raw. He wants Brock Lesnar. We know where this is going. We know they're going to have a match at SummerSlam. What more is there to say, Dave? Seriously.
I've got nothing to say on it, man. I've got nothing
Mate,
to say.
it's like, get to the fucking point of what stipulation you want to do. It was like when they announced it on SmackDown, it was like, this Monday, Cody Rhodes is in the same arena as Brock Lesnar. And you're like, they're going to have a fight. Like they have done the last 6 fucking weeks. Brock wasn't even there this week. So Cody comes out in his suit.
Was Brock meant to be there originally?
I don't even know. I've lost track on this shit. But the bottom line is, get to the point of what match, because we know SummerSlam's going to be a stipulation. We've known that since Brock beat Cody the last couple of pay-per-views ago, that they're 1-1, and there's going to be a third match, and that third match is going to have. Well, just tell us what and apparently this stipulation we haven't had in a while, which makes which piques my interest a little bit. I'm interested to see.
Do something like a bull rope match or a dog collar, or what do you think?
Well, I think dog collar got ruled out mainly because AEW have used it, and look, people can say that WWE don't care about it, but they do. They care about what AEW do, and this whole. They're not going to have a dog collar for that reason. So are they going to have a strap match? Maybe,
Something like that, won't it?
But get to the fucking point already and stop with this bullshit that next week Lesnar's going to respond. Cody Rhodes just said, I want to fight. So what next week Brock's going to go, yeah. And that's going to be the promo. Come on.
There's better ways of reaching that final destination, isn't there?
There is. And it's so fucking annoying that they're going to take so long to get to the fact that we already know. Anyway.
It's difficult because Brock's on limited dates, and I get that. But you could have Cody Rhodes having a match and then hit the mic on the end and just say, Brock, me and you, SummerSlam, name the terms and conditions, any type of match that you want, it's on.
Come out next week and tell me what match you want.
Exactly. That's the job done. But instead, you get this kind of 10-minute Cody promo, which is just a bit boring.
You've seen if you've watched AEW, if you've watched even WWE. It's the same shit.
Yeah.
We've heard this in AEW. We've heard it. Oh, my dad.
Cody, Chad Gable, one-on-one.
Give me that 30 minutes. I'll be happy. I've ranted through this so far, and I'm trying to find the positives about this, but I just can't find.
It's not ranting for the sake of ranting. It's ranting because we want it to be better, and it looks so easy that it just could be. And for whatever reason, this week it just wasn't.
It wasn't. And we move on to a no DQ match between The Miz and Ciampa. The Miz looks like he's brought Bronson Reed again. We saw this months ago where The Miz handed him a fistful of cash. And we know that me and you are fans that we've got half a brain cell. We know they're pushing for a Gargano Ciampa reunion. Yeah. So this does make sense.
Yeah, but do we really want to see Ciampa and Gargano against Miz and Bronson Reed?
No, we fucking don't.
No.
I want to see Bronson Reed go for titles, not pissing around with. And this is no disrespect to The Miz, but Bronson Reed's a main event talent. Why is he doing this shit?
Yeah. And that's the thing. You can't have Miz doing the comedy shtick one week and then be pinning Tommaso Ciampa the next, and that's why I'm so annoyed with it, and that's why I brought it up earlier. If this week's Raw ends with Tommaso Ciampa on the top rope with his arms in the air in victory, that's an image I want to see, and that's an image a lot of wrestling fans and a lot of wrestling fans that watch NXT would love to see. That's what should happen. They should do well in NXT, get over, move to the main roster, and become full main event stars. And even under Triple H's guidance now, we're getting shit like this.
What was his Ciampa's first match back?
Yeah.
Maybe second.
Second.
He's just had a serious injury. He's losing to fucking Miz. Like, okay,
and that's the thing, isn't it? You flick through the results, and Miz pins Ciampa. That's ways they got there, but just why? Just why?
It doesn't get any better, Dave, because we talk about teams that have moved or have been drafted, and we look at Katana, Chance, and Kayden Carter.
Yeah.
And they look, Sonya, Deville, and Chelsea Green number one contenders. So you expected them.
I knew this was coming
to win the match. And look, when this match even started, I expected them to win.
Yeah, same.
But you've got two talents which you're high on in Chance and Carter. And ever since they've come to the main roster, all they've done is job.
Lose. All they've done is lose.
How are you meant to then, 6 months down the line, go, oh, these guys have got a great chance of winning titles?
They're fucked. They're fucked.
Yeah.
And they elevate these talent, and you put this match together. So I thought, right, you're either gonna lose, you're gonna pin your team that you've just promoted from NXT, or you're gonna pin the number one contenders. So okay, one of them are gonna lose. How are you gonna get there? And just all of it was deeply unsatisfying, and just you kind of feel sorry for the wrestlers at times when I do anyway. I just felt they shouldn't be losing when they've just gone on to Raw. That just shouldn't be happening.
And obviously next week, we know we're going to get the women's tag titles. Liv and Raquel are defending against Sonya and Chelsea, which, again, kind of gives away this match.
I'll tell you what I liked. There was something that I liked. It was the little backstage bit with Rhea and Raquel, the little face-off.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, we know we're kind of going to get that at some point. It's just when we get it. Rhea Ripley, let's just talk briefly. Rhea Ripley won this title at WrestleMania, and it was one of the best matches probably on the card that night.
Yeah.
Since WrestleMania, she's done nothing. She's been Dominik's bitch, and I don't like to make, because Rhea Ripley's so much better than being Dominik's bitch. Or maybe Dominik's her bitch. I don't know the way you want to look at it. She's the champion for a reason. And you've made her into this, I don't want to say comedy type role, but you know what I'm getting at here. Like, defend your fucking title. You're the champion. You are the woman on this show.
Well, they've kind of transitioned her into like a leader of the Judgment Day, which I don't mind. But the best way to establish that dominance is by going out week after week and defending the title.
Exactly.
And I know what you mean. It's not really comedy act. It's just like a sideshow from what her actual role is of being a wrestler. Yeah. She's just involved with this angle with Dom, and I really like the Judgment Day. I like all four of them, and I like what they're doing. But let's just get some more wrestling on the show, please.
Yeah, more than this crap. Anyway, we move to the main event. So earlier on in the night, Seth Rollins and Dominik had a spat. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Priest, and Baszler got involved. Sets up the 6-man main event for Raw. Now, what we know about this, we record this. This is nearly Tuesday, so this is quite late on a Monday that we record this now. What we know that happened backstage after this was there was a little bit of a heated argument because the match didn't work. I could have fucking told you that watching it, that this match felt shit, and this match felt clunky, and this match felt that there was something missing out of it. The bottom line is the Judgment Day win the match. Priest and Balor look like they're going to get into it. They have a hug. Backstage, what you don't see, there was this heated argument about this match just didn't feel right. I felt that way from literally a few minutes in. This match felt like there was something missing, Dave. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it just didn't click, did it? And I think the from what we're hearing, the argument backstage, it wasn't physical, but it was just the guys got kind of heated over, they love what they do and they want to put out the best thing they can. And after a not particularly great show, and they must know that when it's a bad episode, to kind of fluff their lines to a degree and make mistakes in the main event must be massively frustrating. So yeah, apparently it did lead to a big row. There's a few kind of noticeable bits in the match. There was a bit with Seth and Finn, and you would put them two guys as, if you wanted two guys to have a good sequence together in the ring, it'd be those two. So yeah, capped off a pretty disappointing week for Monday Night Raw, but hopefully things get better tomorrow on NXT or tonight on NXT when the Judgment Day are there, but because they seem to be bleeding into NXT now as well.
Yes, that was going to be Carmelo Hayes' invited Judgment Day to NXT. Look,
cool.
The NXT card looks great. We don't review NXT. Look, let's be honest, there's not enough time in the fucking day for us to do everything that we do. So we don't really get an opportunity to watch NXT. NXT is probably the second best other than SmackDown at the minute. I'm going to be quite blunt, Dave. I know Andy gave Raw a 7. I'm giving Raw a 5. I don't know about you.
4. I can't go higher than a 4. And yes, as we talk about, we've got the turnbuckle civil war of the two AEW guys and the two WWE guys. All 4 of us love wrestling and we watch all the products and we like what we like and we take what we take from different shows. I like to be constructive. I like to be positive. I love sitting here after a good episode of Raw. I hate when I sit there and I feel like I've wasted 3 hours of my life. And unfortunately, with this week's episode, I wish I'd have just listened to your guys' podcast.
Look, even your dog wanted less than 3 hours of Raw this week.
Even he was bored.
Which pretty much says it all. Look, guys, we wish we could be more positive on this.
We will. For the next podcast, we'll rebuild, and I'm sure we're going to get some great content this week. We're going to get a great Dynamite, a great SmackDown, a great Impact.
Now, more importantly, me and Dave are reviewing 2 weeks worth of Impact this week. We apologize we couldn't get it done live. There has been a lot going on in Buckle HQ behind the scenes with wrestler interviews. Dave and Andy are interviewing James Ellsworth tomorrow. Now, unfortunately, I'm taking a day or 2 off. I've got a work event. I say in inverted commas, which basically consists of consuming a large amount of alcohol. So Dave and Andy are going to be taking the James Ellsworth interview tomorrow. I will be back reviewing AEW Dynamite with Dave. At least Dave, perhaps Andy will join us as well. We have got Buckle Up. Look, listen, if you haven't got your tickets for Buckle Up already, seriously, there is literally 17 seats available. We have opened one more row of seats, and
that's
they
the
are
absolute last one there.
We are not allowed. Seriously, I'm not just saying this to promote our event with Ignite Wrestling Pro. We are not allowed to open any more seats. If those 17 seats go, that is it. If you want to see Michael Oku, the Rev Pro British Heavyweight Champion, if you want to see Connor Mills, the new Rev Pro Cruiserweight Champion, if you want to see Scotty Rourke, Luna Blue, Nino Bryan, Corey McRae, Smashing Mike, Connor Mills, you need to get those tickets because after these 17 have gone, that is it. There is no more. We are not just saying that because we want you to attend. We are saying that because it's an absolute fact. Get down to Boreham Wood on Sunday week. Come and say hello to me, Dave, and Andy, and Fiona, and Rachel, who are going to be there from Team Buckle. just come and see some British wrestling and enjoy it, guys. We'll probably end up reviewing Buckle Up, and we'll have to be quite impartial on that as well. But Dave, this has been the Monday Night Raw review. I wish it could have been better. I know you probably inside are having a bit of a smile because you know AEW is probably going to be better on Wednesday.
No.
We will be back tomorrow. Andy and Dave will be back tomorrow with James Ellsworth. Do not miss it. We still have some big names to come. We've got Diamond Dallas Page. Shane Douglas Part 2 has just aired. We're hoping to get Nick Aldis on next week after Slammiversary. We can't promise that, guys, but we're hoping that we're going to get that deal done. We are in talks with an AEW talent. I can't say any more than that because we need approval from AEW. So, Tony Khan, I know you probably are not watching this. I know the AEW media guys are probably not watching this, but just let's have that talent for 20 minutes, please.
Tony Khan watches everything. I'm convinced he watches every last bit of wrestling that ever happened.
So we will make it worth the while, I promise you. But for now, every new follower we've got on from Rev Pro, we thank you for coming on board. But this has been the Monday Night Raw review with Monday Night Dave Robinson, with Adam Cousins, and we will be back tomorrow. So until then, buckle down, stay safe, good night, and God bless. Goodbye.